What's going on, everyone? So there is a lot of pressure and expectations on Dalton Knecht, right? More now than ever with Jarred Vanderbilt's status kind of up in the air. So reports came out, for those that don't know, Jarred Vanderbilt is expected to miss training camp as well as preseason, and the beginning of the NBA season is kind of up in the air still. So we'll see. Hopefully he's back sooner rather than later. But if he's out, right, you're counting on guys like Cam Reddish and Rui Hachimura and Dalton Knecht and Max Christie and these other guys a lot more, particularly at that 3 spot. And the problem is like, yes, you could go with like a Max Christie, but you're kind of undersized now at the 3 spot, right? Defensively, 40% catch and shoot 3, okay. You could go kind of big and, maybe go with Cam Reddish, which might be the best option as far as like replacing Jarred Vanderbilt momentarily, right? Like Cam Reddish did a really good job of kind of doing his best Jarred Vanderbilt impression last season, but he can be an offensive liability, and he's not Jarred Vanderbilt. He's not as good defensively as Jarred Vanderbilt. But with JJ Redick, could he kind of maybe get him, better offensively? Also, just because you start and close a game with somebody doesn't mean that they have to play 30 plus minutes a game. You could kind of stay big and maybe go with like a Christian Wood and kind of use his length and size. I mean, he did a good job defending Kevin Durant, right? You could kind of maybe by matchup look to kind of match up, based on what the opponent is, who's slotted at the 3, kind of go that route. But there is also Dalton Knecht. And what we saw from Dalton Knecht in Summer League was a guy that can do essentially a little bit of everything, right? And he is looked at as the best ready now player in this previous draft, not named Zach Edey. Zach Edey is the best ready now guy. Dalton Knecht is not far behind. And Dalton Knecht was looked at to be a top 10 at worst draft pick. And he ended up falling to Lakers at 17. I mean, the Lakers didn't even work him out because they didn't believe that he would fall that far, right? I mean, it was a Cam Whitmore situation all over again. This time the Lakers actually took it, right? So look at Dalton Knecht. He's more mature. He's a guy that, should be able to translate immediately to the NBA because of his shooting. He's even shown the ability to make plays and kind of get the look-ahead pass and all those things, right? So Dalton Knecht could maybe potentially even be the answer. But my problem with Dalton Knecht is he's a rookie. And there's a lot of just pressure already and expectations. And you're going to kind of throw him in the fire even more. Right? I'm not saying you don't throw him in the fire, but to basically rely on him as your 3. And he showed issues defending in Summer League. Or is he really going to be able to defend at at least serviceable level in the NBA? Probably not. And then at that point, if you're just looking for the offense, then you might as well just stick with Rui Hachimura because that works. But Dalton Knecht has been putting in work, man. Dalton Knecht all offseason has been just grinding away. And he's even working with point guards, right? So Dalton Knecht was working with Russell Westbrook, which, some people might think like, it's Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is, one, a dog, right? I know people have a bad taste in their mouth because of Russell Westbrook on the Lakers, but let's not pretend like this dude isn't a Hall of Famer and an absolute just monster in his prime. Now, is he the same guy he once was? No. But he's like, let's not pretend like he wasn't, that he's not a, top 75 player all time and all that stuff, right? This guy can teach Dalton Knecht a lot about the game, right? And just things that he's experienced, things that he sees on the court, right? Advantage points, stuff like that. See Dalton Knecht working with a guy like a Russell Westbrook, I think is huge, right? But even more than just Russell Westbrook, Dalton Knecht's working with Chris Paul. And Chris Paul has a history of really shaping guys. I mean, SGA, to this day, credits Chris Paul for basically turning him into the player that he is. And I mean, SGA is top 5, top 10 player at the worst, right? And Chris Paul, I mean, the San Antonio Spurs signed Chris Paul solely for just development to help with Stephon Castle and Devin Vassell and Trey Jones and, Keldon Johnson, right? Like basically all the young guys for the Spurs. So Dalton Knecht learning from Chris Paul, who is one of the best basketball minds this game has ever seen, right? I mean, again, all-time great, Hall of Famer type player. And Dalton Knecht sitting there learning and taking stuff in. And look, he at 6'6", 6'7", has some explosiveness to him. He has some athleticism. He's one of the best just athletes in this combine, right? His ability to play multiple positions. One of the big things, though, I talked about heavily during Summer League that really surprised me was his playmaking, right? Like, he was wheeling and dealing at times, right? And that's a very good asset to have in and of itself, right? Because when your shot isn't falling, what else can you do? Right? Like, if your shot isn't falling and now you're unplayable, right, then, it becomes a problem. But if your shot isn't falling and you can essentially be a point forward and you can run your offense through him and he can make plays and stuff, and he's learning from Chris Paul, he's learning from Russell Westbrook, and he's seeing the game differently, and he's, learning how to be a better playmaker, right? I mean, even at times, if you could slot him over and make him a 6'6", 6'7" point guard, right? Like, who has some athleticism to him and some explosiveness, right? Defensively is a real question, but he has the tools. He has the size. He has the length. He has the quickness and the foot speed and the lateral movement and all the stuff you want to be a good defensive guy. I like seeing players working out with guys that aren't just them. Like, if he was working out with like, Kyle Korver or something like that, right? Like, it's like, yeah, that's great. Or if he was working out with like a Clay, right? Yeah, that's great. He's gaining some experience. He's learning to shoot. He's learning to do that stuff. But I don't want to see him just work out with those guys. I want to see him work out with, Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, right? Now you get different perspective. Now you get different look. You should be taking a little bit from everybody, right? It shouldn't be like, oh, I'm just going to only work out with JJ Redick because I'm a player similar to him. No. You should be working out with, big men even. Right? If you can work out with Joel Embiid, I'm sure Joel Embiid has a couple things in his bag that you could take from him. Chris Paul, I'm sure, has some things that you could take from him, even if it's just knowledge. Even if it's just, positioning, understanding certain spots on the floor. Right? Like, all those things go a really long way. So for him to work with Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, I think it goes a really long way for him, and I think is going to really help him just make a real impact this season. Because again, the expectations are for him to play a big role, right? The expectations are for him to bare minimum fill in that Taurean Prince role. And I actually think he has potential to be better overall than Taurean Prince. Now, you can't replicate Taurean Prince's experience and kind of understanding, right? And confidence and comfortability, right? Because he's kind of been there, done that. Hit big shots even in the playoffs and stuff, right? Like you saw, like even in the Denver series, like Taurean Prince was one of the few guys that actually showed up, right? So Dalton Knecht, though, however, I do think he's a better athlete. He's more explosive. He's more versatile on the offensive side. You can do more things with him and position him better. Also, his mid-range, more than anything. If he can get comfortable and translate to the NBA, which it'll probably take him a little time. I'm not expecting him to come out and be this, like, just lights-out guy from the gate. Right? I mean, even his over-under is projected to be at 9.5, which I actually think is right on the money. I think he'll either be an 8-point-a-game guy or he'll be like a 10 to maybe 12-point-a-game guy. Right? Like, but I'm not going to put, a expectation, right? I want to see him play out. I want to let him show, like, what can he do? What's he capable of? And even if he has his struggles early on, I'm not going to just, he's a boss, he's trash, whatever. No, like, give him a little time to kind of get his legs under him, get a feel for the speed, the physicality, right? Understanding positions on the basketball court, right? Like, there's a lot that you got to learn when you get to that level, right? And the game is a lot faster and physical and things that you can't replicate or expect, right? But if he can figure it out and he can translate, that mid-range more than anything, I think is going to be very valuable, especially come playoff time, because teams make it a point to protect the paint and close hard on the three-point shot. It's why you see most teams that advance far have multiple guys that are capable of hitting the mid-range, right? I mean, you look at like Dallas, Kyrie, Kyrie and Luka, right? So you got the Dalton Knecht, Chris Paul in my mind, but Luka and Kyrie both can hit the mid-range. PJ Washington can even hit the mid-range, right? Now they even got a guy in Klay Thompson who, yeah, he can hit three, but can also hit the mid-range, right? You look at Boston, right? Jason Tatum loves that little elbow, right? Jaylen Brown can hit the mid-range. Derek White, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, right? All those guys can hit the mid-range. The mid-range is very important because it's usually so open, because teams are so worried about not giving up a three, as well as protecting the paint and making sure you don't get an easy layup or an easy bucket. But I really liked what I'm seeing from Dalton Knecht and just the effort and work that he's putting in. Both of our rookies, Bronny James too, man. Say what you want about Bronny James. That dude, like, every day you're getting new footage and videos of him just in the lab working on his game. Same thing with Dalton Knecht. I love it. I love that the rookies are taking this serious and they're really trying to work to improve their game immediately, right? I get that, it's like, well, it's their job, but a lot of players don't. I mean, we have a guy in Cam Reddish who many people dating back to Duke were like, he has zero work ethic, right? Like his work ethic is terrible, right? So it's like, okay, well, not everybody is willing to put the time and the effort. Like they'll do the bare minimum. I'll show up to training camp, work out in the off season, all that stuff. But to stay on that grind, I love to see it. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? You excited to see him working out with Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul? Do you like that he's kind of, trying to get a little bit from everybody? He's also playing with guys like LeBron James. He has a guy like JJ Redick as his coach. Right? Like, this dude's got plenty of talent around him that he can learn from. So keep that in mind. But again, I feel whatever your thoughts are. Love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.